Good morning, family, and welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Thursday, July 23rd, 2009, and today we're reading in 1 Kings chapter 6, and as always I encourage you first to read it for yourself, see what you get from it, email us, and we will put it on the blog. But we see now that the temple of the Lord is being built by King Solomon, and remember before we read about the tabernacle, which the tabernacle would move from place to place because that's when the children of Israel were in the wilderness and they were moving to their promised land, but the tabernacle was moving where the temple is going to be stationary. And we see the detail even, because remember how there was so much detail in the tabernacle, and we see the detail that Solomon is even putting into building this temple. But as I was reading this chapter, I noticed the detail, but one thing that stood out to me, it might have, it was just one particular verse out of this chapter, but it really stood out to me, just saying that no like heavy tool or machinery was used, anything I guess making a loud noise really at the site where the temple was being built. They did it all off-site, and then they brought the things there to build the temple. So as I was considering that one point, like I said, stood out to me, just that they realized that this was a holy place, and they didn't want the noise to disturb the atmosphere, to disturb the environment from doing heavy work and whatever they were doing with banging the stones or whatever they were doing to build. So that's something we've even spoken about before at the temple, at our temple, even just about how there's different sounds and how different sounds actually will affect an atmosphere. And it's funny because Jason and I were talking about this just I think about 2 days ago, just how even listening to different music affects you and affects how you react and how your body might move. An example I was giving them was that a couple years ago I was at that time I was driving in the car and I was listening to music, and sometimes that music just makes you the type of music just makes you like go faster or speed, just go faster and not really pay attention to what you might be doing. And what happened was I ended up getting a ticket, which was a silly ticket because I was just on a regular road. I actually saw that I noticed that there was an officer off to the side, but I really didn't pay attention to him. I was listening to the music, and I was apparently I guess speeding. And it was I would attribute it to the music that I was listening to, because like I said, some music will get you going and you just so into the music and you start speeding or whatever you're doing. So how I'm tying this into today's Lessons for Life is just how sounds will influence an atmosphere, and we need to be aware of that. And even there's a study and a science of that too, about different, we've been taught about sacred sounds, but how different sounds affect your body and affect your even thought process and just affect you in general. So that's definitely something I wanted to share for Lessons for Life. Another example is at the office. I know we put on music just to ease the atmosphere at work, but there's certain music that's more conducive to working, as opposed to other music which might slow you down or not put you in the right mindset to work. So this definitely something to the sounds, and that's something I saw as I was reading this chapter, just how they didn't have any of the machinery sound at the site of the temple, recognizing this was a place where they were building. It was a holy place for God. So that's what I want to share. With that, create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today, and we'll talk again tomorrow.